Hey guys, today we are taking a look at what the consensus is for the current mock drafts and everything like that. Compiling over 1,000 different mock drafts. I'll be going over what the average most mocked player to each position is. So we're going to start off with number one, the Chicago Bears at pick one. As you guys already know, if you guys have seen any mock drafts, it's almost guaranteed to see Caleb Williams going at number one. Honestly, the only time I've ever seen it not be him is if it was like somebody who put like a Drake May or something crazy like that at number one. But it's gonna be Caleb Williams. He's clearly the best person, as you see, out of 1,100 mocks. It's 99% of the time it's Caleb Williams. The next one, Jaden Daniels for Washington. Also, like we said, this guy is a baller. He's awesome. He's definitely who I'd pick at number two, like no doubt about it. So 63% of mocks also agree with that. So let's move on to the next one. Drake May. This one did surprise me because, like I said, if you guys have seen some of my videos, y'all know I'm not really a big fan of Drake May. He's way too inconsistent. But like you said, it's not even it's 44% of the drafts have them selecting Drake May. So it's not even this one's up for grabs of who the hell they can go with. I think more recently it's been J.J. McCarthy, but 44% have him taking Drake May. On to the next one here. The Cardinals. This one is also one of the more popular ones. If you guys see the Cardinals mock drafts, good chance they're either trading out or they're selecting Marvin Harrison Jr. There's rarely any other options. As you can see, 89% of the mock drafts have the Cardinals selecting Marvin Harrison Jr. And the dude's a dog. Like we said, he's not my number one receiver in the draft. However, he's one of those players who are just can't miss prospects. He has the great route running, amazing catching. Like he's not going to bust. He's definitely a safe pick. And I think that's the reason why the Cardinals go with Marvin Harrison Jr. in most of the drafts. Especially because, I mean, the dude's name is Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, come on. Like, you already got the name and you balled out in college. Like, yeah, people don't want to be the guy to miss and not pick him if he ends up being that guy and they had the opportunity. So that's why Cardinals going number 4, selecting Marvin Harrison Jr. Now for the next one, number 5 for the Chargers. 38% of mock drafts have the Chargers selecting Malik Nabers. This one actually did surprise me. It doesn't surprise me in terms of Malik Nabers because he is my number one receiver. I think he is amazing. The dude is so explosive. He can take any catch, run it for 80 yards for the touchdown at any play. His acceleration is matched to none. He's literally one of the greatest players I've been able to scout, and he's impressive for sure. But 38%, I haven't actually seen any that have him selecting him. Actually, I see majority of people selecting like Joe Alt to them or some kind of tackle because of John Harbaugh's link and how he loves building teams, and he's much more built towards building that offensive line, that defensive line, and receivers and stuff like that is kind of second on the burners because he loves to just run that ball, play defense. But I'm not upset with it. Like I said, I love Malik Nabers, and I think that's a great pick. But out of the 1,100 mock drafts that this is compiled between, 38% of them have Malik Nabers. The Giants at number 6 going Rome Odunze. I always say his name wrong when I'm reading it. But taking a look here, 25% of mocks have them selecting Rome Odunze. I'm actually surprised that one's only 25% because that's actually a very popular pick that I see going to that I see going to the Giants is Rome Odunze. And I like it with, given that Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison Jr. is off the board. If you need a weapon, I think Rome Odunze is the guy. I really do think he's one of the next best. He's not my number 3, but he's number 3 on many people's boards, and I'm not going to hate you for it. So 25%, I'm surprised it's actually that low as well, because like I said, I barely see Malik Nabers going at 5, but I do see Rome at 6 a lot. Next one, number 7 to the Tennessee Titans, Joe Alt, the massive 6'9" tackle out of Notre Dame. 78% of mocks. Now that is something I do see a whole lot. If I don't see Joe Alt going to the Chargers, I see him going to the Titans 99% of the time. On this particular one, 78% of the time, which is just awesome. Being able to see this far in, a player just gets mocked to them over and over and over again. And it's also the pick that whenever I'm doing mock drafts, I also tend to throw Joe Alt to these guys as well. If not Joe Alt, it'll be like JC Latham, something along those lines. They really, really need offensive help. I could see them going offensive line in the first round and second round. So like that's how big of a need this is. So makes complete sense. Going on to the next one. No surprise, Falcons going with Dallas Turner in 80% of mocks. It's going to be a defensive player. I actually think they'll trade back from here, especially since all the defensive players that get pushed down the draft, thanks to all the amazing offensive talent at the top of the draft. Dallas Turner, I actually think they prefer Laiatu Latu more. However, Dallas Turner is the most athletic freak and has the biggest upside, the highest ceiling. So that's why 80% of mocks have the Falcons going with Dallas Turner. Once again, dude's a baller. Can't go wrong with him. But I predict that they trade back and then go with a Laiatu Latu. Number 9, Chicago Bears selecting edge Jared Verse. See, this is a pick that obviously see only 10% of mocks select. I've only seen Jared Verse getting selected to the Bears like maybe once or twice, but it must be those once or twice are really just barely ahead of the other ones, because this is a pick where the Bears could go any way. They can go offensive line, they can go defensive line, they can go corner, they can go safety, they can go wide receiver, they can go tight end. Sheesh. Like, they really can go any way, so it really shows. They could trade back. So that's why only 10% of mocks have them going Jared Verse, which is still the most popular, which is crazy. Like, there's just so many options at this one, which is why I think they trade back. With that many different options, and only 10% of people would be like, yeah, you got to go this guy. I say trade back and then take who you feel is best after getting some more picks, especially since the Chicago Bears only have 4 picks in the 2024 NFL draft. I think that's definitely the move. Moving on to the next one, Brock Bowers to the New York Jets. 58% of mocks have them going Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers is one of my favorite players in the whole draft. I actually have him above Marvin Harrison Jr. on my big board. I think he is that good, and his run after the catch is just elite. He's gonna run you over, put his head down, make you miss with that, either breaking the tackles or juking you out your shoes. He can play in the slot, on the outside. He can play at the tight end, and he's not weak in the run game. This dude really, really wants to be physical, and he's that perfect tight end that any team would be just salivating over to have. He's definitely a great pick, and 58% of mocks have them going Brock Bowers. As a Colts fan, I'm kind of hoping he falls so that we can get him at 15, but obviously he's amazing talent, and you can't go wrong with Brock. Number 11, J.J. McCarthy to Minnesota. This one makes a lot of sense as well. They definitely need a quarterback after Kirk Cousins leaves. Right now, they don't really got much going for them. I really think this is a good pick. I love J.J. McCarthy. He's my 3rd favorite quarterback in the draft. I believe his mobility to be able to throw on the run is just top notch. He's a great player. I can actually see the Vikings trading up to get JJ, but if they were able to sit and wait and get him at 11, that's just as good, because they actually have another first round pick where they would be able to use on some more help if they're able to have him fall instead of having to use that pick to trade up. But 33% of the mocks have him going JJ. Number 12, this one surprised me. Bo Nix to the Broncos. Have you guys been seeing this? This to me tells me like this is like early on mock drafts had the Broncos going Bo Nix, because I don't think this is the consensus today with Bo Nix going to the Broncos. I think it's more like corner or tackle. I don't think it's going to be Bo Nix here. I think Bo Nix will actually go in the second round, early second round probably. But hey, 30%. So this is their top selection that they have out of 1,100 mocks. Number 13, Michael Penix Jr. This is someone I actually have above Bo Nix, not super high above, but I do have him above Bo Nix. I love Michael Penix Jr. to the Raiders. This is someone I love throwing to them. But also, it's also fun to throw Michael Penix Jr. to the Raiders in the second round because after the Raiders, there's really nobody who I have selecting a quarterback. So being able to select a top offensive, weapon or talent with a guard or tackle or a corner, and then being able to still get Michael Penix Jr. in the second round is really appealing. But I mean, if this is your guy, you got to take him whenever you can. You can't risk letting him fall and not getting him. And I wouldn't hate it if they went Michael Penix Jr. at 13. 14, New Orleans Saints going Olu Fashanu. I'm sorry, Olu Fashanu. No, it's Fashanu. There we go. There's a debate on his name, but he came out and said his last name is Fashanu. So Olu Fashanu, 35% of mocks going to the Saints. This is one of the best pass blocking tackles in the draft. He did come in with some small hands, but he's long. He's great in pass blocking. He's not as good in the run game, but he's one of the best pass blocking tackles in the draft. I have him going later in the drafts typically, but 35% of the drafts have the Saints taking him. He's definitely one of the players that's the most debated amongst the NFL rooms right now. Is where do you select Olu Fashanu? But if he goes 14, I won't be terribly surprised. As 35% of mocks have him going here anyways. Most popular pick for the Saints, so makes sense. Pick 15, Quinyon Mitchell to the Colts. This is a pick where, like I said, you guys know I'm a Colts fan. The Colts desperately need DBs. You can ask the average NFL fan if they can name one DB, and they'll look at you blank face. They won't be able to name it, and it's understandable. We have a lot of young corners. We went early corner last year, so I could definitely see them going Quinyon Mitchell. In my opinion, he is the number one corner in the draft. He is super athletic. The only thing is he is so good at man-to-man. Obviously, you could teach him to play zone. Anybody can play zone. The Colts are a team that really run that system, that Seahawks system where they just have the zone coverage. They don't depend too much on their corners. They just want them to be long, athletic, and that's really what they do, which obviously Quinyon Mitchell is that. However, will they value him over, let's say, a Brian Thomas Jr. or a Brock Bowers over Quinyon Mitchell? I don't know. But like you see, 26% is the most popular pick, and I don't hate it. I like this pick. I would not be mad at all. I'd be quite happy with Quinyon. Number 16, Troy Fautanu, man of the pickles, Troy Fatatuni, Fadohu at number 16. This guy is projected at tackle. He totally could play tackle, but I think he is a dog in the guard position. Honestly, I'm shocked that they have him going offensive line, but then again, they did go different direction with their head coach. But I just know normally every single year, everybody's like, come on, Seahawks got to go offensive line. They got to. It's their biggest need. And then they go fucking Rashad Penny or something crazy. You just never know what they're doing, and they typically don't go offensive line in the first round. However, it has been the most popular thing to give them either, a tackle, a guard, a center, something like that. So it wouldn't be surprising. At 32% of drafts have him going Troy Faudawari. Number 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars going with Terrion Arnold. Makes a lot of sense. Terrion Arnold is a player that I personally see as more of a nickel corner or that nickel safety kind of player. However, if you like him and you want to take him as your top corner, go ahead. But I personally see him as a early second round pick. But makes sense. This is actually where I mock him a lot, so makes sense to me. Number 18, the Cincinnati Bengals going J.C. Latham. Makes total sense. They need help. They need to protect Joe Burrow. They need to really secure that offensive line. And J.C. Latham can easily end up the best offensive tackle in this draft. He is a straight mauler. He is so good, and I think it should be higher than 21%. The only problem is J.C. Latham probably has has going higher than 18 in a lot of mock drafts. So if he does fall here, this is typically where he goes. I think that's more what it is rather than different options at 18. But I think it's a great pick, honestly. Number 19, the Rams going with Laiatu Latu. Hands down, probably the best defensive tackle. What the hell am I going with? Defensive edge in the draft. He's a guy who has a first move. He has a second move. He has a third move. He has a first to fourth move. Like, this guy is really, really defensively sound. He has so much technique. And if you guys watch film, you'll probably go away going like, oh yeah, this is definitely the best, edge in the draft. The only thing is, obviously, Turner at the top has a little bit more athleticism. Sorry, I keep moving my phone a little bit. He has just a little bit more athleticism, and it has a higher upside because Turner be beating guys with one move. Like, he's that kind of athletic. So if Laiatu falls this far, I definitely think it's a great pick to get him at 19 because obviously, like I said, I think he can go even higher up to like 8. Number 20, the Steelers going with Amarius Mims. Amarius Mims only actually played 8 games last year. However, the dude's another 6'8" monster tackle. If you guys see him, this guy has huge legs. He is massive, long arms. I think he has like 11-inch hands. This dude is fucking blocking with rulers and shit. Like, what the hell? He is just a man amongst men. You look at him and you're like, damn. And the only reason he played 8 games is because he did have some injuries. It wasn't anything that like screams injury prone. It's more like a terrible luck. Like a goddamn defensive tackle gets pushed over and fell on his ankle and snaps that. Or another one, his lineman stepped on his ankle and twisted his ankle. It was some bull crap like that. Nothing that really scares me. It's not like he was just, going, like moving back and then planted and then tore some shit. Nothing like that. I definitely think he's a great, great player. And he can go even higher than this. He has also the opportunity to be one of the better tackles in the draft. So moving on to the next one, Graham Barton. This is a guy who also is listed as a tackle, not on this one here, but I also see him as a guard. The Dolphins need a bunch of help. They're paying money to so many different players, so being able to just draft another offensive lineman to really just help out that O-line and replace some of the people who have been leaving is really, really important. So I think that's a great pick. 20% of mocks as we go here. Moving on to the next one, the Eagles drafting Nate Wiggins at 27% of the drafts. I obviously love this. Nate Wiggins is arguably the best corner in the draft behind Nate Wiggins. What the hell did I just say? Behind Quinyon Mitchell. So I like it a lot. Obviously, I think that would be like, damn it, why the Eagles keep sitting put late in the draft and getting top tier talent? Every year it happens. So it really wouldn't surprise me if it happened again. Going Nate Wiggins, possibly the best corner in the draft, getting him at 22. So 27% of mocks got him going here. I wouldn't be surprised. Next one, Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois. This one makes sense. They lost Danielle Hunter, and they need more help on the D-line. Jerzon Newton is one of those dudes who is super athletic. He's a freak at D-tackle. And honestly, I think it's a great pick. But this is a pick, once you get later in the draft, pick number 23, they can go anywhere, honestly. They can go more weapons. They can go corner. So I think the edge is someone I more go. I think I go Jared Verse to them a lot here. So 12% of mocks. This is like hey, do they even have the pick here? Do they trade it to move up? Like, it's one of those picks that's like a tough one. So only 12% here go Jerzon. Next one, Jackson Powers Johnson. Jackson Powers Johnson going to the Dallas Cowboys at pick 24. I'm surprised it's only 19% of drafts because this is a popular one for me because they need that interior help. Jackson Powers Johnson is a straight mauler on the interior. He's able to move up the field, hit a linebacker. He's a great talent. And the Cowboys seem to always go O-line in all the mock drafts right here, and I think this is an easy one. I'm surprised it's only 19%, but once you get later in the mocks, it's a shit show, like who can go where. So next one, Cooper DeJean. 23% of mocks have Cooper DeJean going to going to the Packers. I don't know if maybe it's just because he's a white dude, where they keep like, hey, yeah, he'd fit there in Green Bay. But I mean, the dude really is good. I see him more as a safety. However, I mean, he played great as a corner, and he's a ball hawk. He's gonna get you picks. He's a great player. I love him. I honestly do. I love giving him to the Cardinals whenever I'm doing my mock drafts because I do love him as a player. I just know that he's probably more of a safety. Next one, 26, Chop Robinson from Penn State. This guy is a edge that's like difficult because he's an athletic freak. His ceiling is super high, but he just has no weapons. He's really just needs to be taught for sure. He needs to spend a year or two, and I think that the Buccaneers are a great team to do that. You've seen them do it before, selecting talent who doesn't pan off right off the bat, but give them a couple years with coaching, and they end up panning out super well. So I think that could definitely happen here again. 26% of mocks, so obviously a lot of people see him going this way. Once you get this late, 26% is like 80%. So, nice. Move on to the next one. So Cardinals going Kool-Aid McKinstry. Obviously, could be a good pick. I'm personally, he's a little bit lower on my board. I think the Cardinals could get him in the second round. But if you really feel highly about him here, go ahead and take him. 16% of mock drafts got the Cardinals going Kool-Aid here. So it's nice. I think he's a good player. Now this one is dangerous. Dangerous, man. The Bills selecting Adonai Mitchell. Adonai is one of my top players in this draft. He's top 5, arguably top 6. He is so nuanced as a route runner. He's like tall. He's got route running, some of the best route running in the draft. He's got hands. He's just the full package. The only problem with him is he takes a lot of plays off. You'll see him not running his routes fully if he knows it ain't going his way, which is crazy because you'll see him running half-ass on a route and they'll still throw him the ball and he'll still get it, which only says more about him as a player. But just imagine if they were able to really unlock more from him and get him to be more consistent and actually, participate in run blocking, because he's one of those guys that'll let the defensive back just run right past him, and that shit pisses me off. But I prefer him here over than a couple picks later to the Chiefs, so I'll take it. Sorry about that. Next one, Darius Robinson. This guy, in my opinion, is better than Jerzon Newton. I think he is the second best defensive tackle in the draft. They have him listed as edge. Yeah, he can play edge, and that's where he played in college, but I think he was playing out of position. A lot of college teams do play players out of position because they have so much talent on their team. They just want to get the dude out there, and they're like, hey, go to the edge. So that's where he's at. But I really see him playing super well on the interior of the defensive line, like the 3 gap, or 3 technique, I should say. So I think that's where he goes there. And 10% of mocks have him going to the Lions, but which I forgot to mention, 39% got the Bills taking Adonai Mitchell, AD Mitchell, crazy. Next one, Tyler Guyton to the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, and that's crazy, 32%. We're getting down this low, and the mocks just keep like, hey, they're taking this guy. Obviously, they need a little bit more help on the tackle to help Lamar Jackson. I think Tyler Guyton's a great tackle. I think he's one of the only players who was able to lock up the defensive edge from Ohio State. He's not entering the draft this year. I believe he's probably going to enter next year. I could not tell you what that guy's last name is. I promise you I can't pronounce it. So I'm not even going to try. So he really is a great talent. And you can see something that's great in offensive linemen is if you're able to watch them go against the top talent, and if they're one of the only guys that's able to beat up on those top-ranked edges, then you know you got a baller. Like Olu Fashanu was getting toasted by that edge rusher for Ohio State. But this guy, he held it his own. So I think that says a lot. And I think he's a great player. They'd be lucky to get him at 32, but I think he will be there. At 30. Next one here, Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle going to San Francisco 49ers here. I actually see him also more as a guard, but hell, the 49ers are just going best player available. All the tackles are gone. They're like, fuck it, let's go with Jordan Morgan. 26% of drafts got him going that way. I haven't actually seen one that did have him going there, but if that's what the consistency is, the consensus, there you go, Jordan Morgan. Last one here, Xavier Worthy. This one's easy because, obviously, you know the Chiefs, they love drafting the fast receivers, and they ain't ever been a faster receiver than Xavier Worthy. 4.22 speed. He's got good route running. He also has a little bit of that problem with taking some plays off as well, but I think he's a great player and makes a lot of sense. I think at first I was like, this guy drops too many, but then I actually going over all of his film, I actually really like him. He's one of my top 10 receivers, so I think that would be a dangerous selection there, and I think it would work out really well. The Chiefs need a receiver before the Rashee Rice shit started going down, so now that Rashee is in trouble going 200 miles an hour on the highway, like we already got PTSD from this, like with the Raiders receiver. Like, come on now. Now, I'll go to this next one, Ladd McConkey at number 33, just because they didn't have a draft pick. 30% of mocks have the Panthers going Ladd McConkey. I actually hope he does not go here, not because I think he'd do well, but because I think the Panthers are going to make this dude look trash, and he's in my top 5 receivers. I think he's an amazing receiver, but he's a little small. They already got a quarterback who's a little small and then did not look good in his first year. I just don't want them to ruin my guy, Ladd McConkey. But this guy is a great receiver. He'd be an easy number 1 for this team. He could play inside. He could play outside. He is one of the nastiest route runners in this draft. He is fast. He is explosive. He does not drop passes. So I definitely don't think you can go wrong with Ladd McConkey. And I'll give you one more. The Patriots going Xavier Leggett at 34 and 13% of mocks. I think this is another great pick. He's actually my most recent upload that I did, going over every single target from Xavier Leggett, and dude is a deep threat monster. He is that guy who just goes down the field and you just launch that motherfucker up and he catches it more times than not. So I call him Legatron. That he's crazy in the deep field. I think he isn't as good with the yards after the catch. He's not going to make people miss, and honestly, he's not even lower in shoulders, even though he's built like goddamn DK Metcalf. But great pick. But that's the end here. I'll give you another peek at this next one, Zach Frazier. But that's the end here. And honestly, if you guys were wondering, like, hey, what if we combined 1,000 mock drafts in one, what would that look like? Here we go. This is it right here. If you guys want to see another video, you guys want to see the second round, more of it, let me know. I can definitely upload that one as well. But this is the end of the video. If you guys made it this far, thank you so much. I love you guys. If you guys want me to do film review on any player in the draft, let me know down below. I'll get that uploaded as soon as the next day I try to aim for. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day. Please like the video and subscribe.